So this is part two of considering work. And last week we examined our belief systems that can be created through families, through values, over a lifetime, and they can be created in a conversation that we have in the staff room, can't they? So we were looking at all the different variables that we feel come from the outside and impact the way we are. And what I want you to be open to is the fact that it may not be external. And so the idea of work, if you think of the times in your work where you have had great fun, usually transition phases. So maybe when year 11s leave, or when you get some new year 7s, or you get those little tiny nursery children who's who are buoyant with well-being and fun, aren't they? Or you get those year 6s in the brand new I'm leaving sweatshirt hoodies, and they're so proud and they feel so grown up, don't they, aged 10 and 11. And those are the joyful times. And that's because we're not focusing so much on our personal thinking in the moment. We're focusing on the connection, the feeling, that sense of belonging that we have in our school, that these children have been part of the family or about to be part of the family of our school, and we've got this. Or that we've shared our talents and our knowledge, excuse me, and they are moving on to the next phase in their life. So in those moments where we're not focusing on our insecure thinking or our worries or our shopping list of things we have to do, we actually feel or sense a kind of a freedom. It feels lighter, and we have greater clarity actually in that moment. So if we compare a time when maybe we went for an interview, and maybe the night before the interview we practiced and rehearsed and we'd got so much written down, or we talked about it with a colleague who's more advanced than we were, or maybe it was the first time you went back as a parent after you'd had time out being ill, and you went back with that sense of doubt and insecurity, that little voice that runs around in your thinking like a tape recorder. And all of that insecurity and fear feels real, it feels in the moment. And yet, when you walk away, whether you get the job or not, poof, it's gone. That amazes me. The human mind, the way we can use thinking to create our day, our life, who we are, moment by moment, it never ceases to amaze me once you've got that understanding. And I gained this understanding 8 years ago, and it's kind of like a spiral. I gained it here, and then I gained a little bit more, and I doubted it, and then a bit more, and doubted it, and each time I have a new awareness, different awareness, and you can't see it until you can see it. So I hope I can point you in the direction of the choice that we have in life between picking up this huge mantle of work and stress and loyalty and doing, and we have to do from the minute we get up till the minute we go to sleep, all of this. Or maybe yours, if you flip that coin, maybe yours is to avoid because you feel not good enough or insecure, or that somebody else will do it far better than you will. Or maybe that's the way your culture is, that you don't do certain things, you have to step back. So you've learned to numb everything down. Wherever you are on that spectrum, the great thing is it's all the same thing. It's all made up by us. So we don't have to wait for the variable of something changing on the outside in our environment. Of course, that can still happen, but it can happen with the understanding of a clearer mind and a sense of knowing that this is the truth. And there's a difference between knowing that something is the truth and focusing on the content of something which is whirring round and round. So what are the key enablers when we are in that place of belief system of this is the way we do it, we overperform, we overcreate, we gather everybody's ideas, we research for days, and then we produce this piece of work, and actually when we get to it, we're so tired and so fed up with it, we don't even enjoy it. So it's a different way to do that. And how about if you are a teaching assistant and you are working with the school's belief systems of behaviour is this way, but you've got a different way of being in your family. Yours is stricter or maybe not as strict as schools. And so you get that push and pull of different values. So how do you manage those differences? Well, the good news is you start with yourself. And you start with an understanding that you always have a potential for ease and peace and fun. I bet if you got a photograph out of when you were younger, it would be on a swing or playing somewhere, or it would capture an important occasion in your life and it would bring back some good memories, hopefully. And that's about a time when you didn't concentrate so much on your personal thinking. That's the stuff that we build up, you know, through conversations and opinions and belief systems, and we bring it all in and goes round and round in our head, and then we focus on it, and we overly focus on it, and it becomes bigger than we can actually manage at the time. And so we have to find a way, or we believe that we have to find a way of backing off that. And that's usually through not being available, perhaps through hiding behind other people who are more vibrant than you are, or you think they're more vibrant than you. You just have this sense of not being able to quite touch where you want to be because you've got this huge burden of responsibility in the way of doing life. Not enough time, misunderstanding relationships at home, at school, and you've really got yourself in that spiral of not being that buoyant, tiny, youthful child full of their own well-being, but you're now this adult and you feel, yeah, that was okay, I was a child then, but now I've got all these responsibilities as an adult, and that's not the way life is. Oh, stop. That could be true, it's not the way life is, because that might be what you're choosing in this moment, just as I did. Because I know when my dad got dementia, and I had no idea of the impact of that on my life, and I didn't have this understanding in the beginning. And so I went in with my work like the boss is watching, roll your sleeves up theory. And for a long time that didn't work, surprise, surprise. And when somebody else pointed out to me that I was exhausted and I needed some respite, I knew it was true. And actually, if I had been aware of my own thinking and the way I create my own state of mind, I would see that thinking building up. I would see that when that social worker who assessed my dad as a stranger told me that he needed 40 different things, then I could close the door and choose some of those things that, knowing my dad, knew would be absolutely okay to do. It's humanly impossible to be perfect at everything. I know that because I've tried it. Thank goodness I've got a different sense of awareness. So coming back round to work, sometimes we think state of mind is irrelevant because we want to get on with something and we don't realize how it impacts our well-being. And yet, don't we teach that to children? Don't we nurture our children whose home life is really tough? Don't we provide food for them? Don't we take them to one side when their behaviour is absolutely dire and give them a second chance? Why aren't we doing that for ourselves? Why isn't it important that our own state of mind is as buoyant as when we were 2 or 3? Sometimes when we're kind of lost in the content of work, in producing, in getting through, then we miss out on the joy of the creation. And I'm dearly hoping from the bottom of my heart that education will change and that testing will disappear and Ofsted will disappear or be like touch. You know, I've had this dream for decades actually, and that we will have space to enjoy and to have fun and to be creative with the knowledge that we know now. We've been through such a strict regime in education, we can take the good parts out of that and apply it to the work that we do. So last week we looked at assumptions, and this week we're looking at whether we want to keep those assumptions and look in the direction of that very cluttered, personal, sometimes insecure, or maybe indifferent thinking. And we always know if it isn't working for us because it feels sticky, it feels heavy, and we're kind of despondent or critical about life. And when we are critical about life, it's usually our own insecurity lying at the bottom of it. So, believing and knowing that you create your own state of mind, it doesn't matter how many variables are out there. I get caught up. If I'm not in a coaching session because I meditate and I focus and I'm clear, but you know, in just being Annie and having a conversation with my sister, you know, and she can say something and like the blue touch paper, and I'll come off the phone and I'll be washing up, you know, with clodhoppers on, and then I laugh at myself. And sometimes that takes 2 seconds, sometimes it takes a few days to sort of step back and see that I've looked at all the differences between us instead of noticing my own thinking in the moment. So we looked at assumptions last week, and this week we've looked at your own thinking in the moment. I wonder what next week will bring. And when we put it all together, freedom of mind, that's what I promised you the first week. And anybody who still doesn't see this, at the end of the sessions, get in touch with me and we'll have a chat. Enjoy your day, enjoy your evening, enjoy your morning, whatever is going on for you. Get out of the way of your own thinking, or just notice it like I do. Have a good day.